Hello everyone, I'm Officer Ashwell with the Central Point Police Department, and it's time for our 16th episode of Traffic Safety First. Today we are going to discuss 7 basic steps for what to do when selling a car. Be sure to wait for step 7 since it's one that's often overlooked. The first step in selling a car is taking photos of the vehicle to post in an advertisement. When taking these photos, it's always a good idea to do something to block the plate and VIN information. This will be something you can share with prospective buyers as it comes closer to you selling the car, but it's not necessary to have it visible for the initial posting. What's the point of blocking this information though? A primary reason is because there are some scammers out there who may use your photos and information to create fake ads themselves to try and sell the car to others. If the scammers don't have access to this basic information, when a potential buyer asks for this information and doesn't receive it, it is easier for them to figure out the seller may not be legitimate. The next step is finding a proper place to advertise the vehicle. Many people use various advertising platforms such as local newspapers, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, etc. Something to keep in mind when posting is to give a detailed description of the vehicle and adhere to the advertising platform's guidelines for posting. For example, some places may not allow posting of phone numbers in ads and will instead ask you to provide an email address for prospective buyers. It's also a good idea to not post the address of where the vehicle is parked. Wait until a prospective buyer reaches out to you and asks for a meetup before you give them the location of the vehicle being sold. After the ad is posted, you can sit back and wait for responses. Once responses start coming though, the third step is where you'll want to verify the person who has contacted you is not trying to defraud you. Pay attention to whether they ask you extremely vague questions, which is a sign of a potential scam.
Hi there, I see you have an item for sale I am interested in. Is it still for sale?
Or if they seem to be asking specific questions about your car.
Hello Heather, I am interested in the Ford Explorer you're selling. I see you said it has 55,000 miles on it, but is there anything wrong with the engine and is it still available? Thanks, Desiree.
If anyone offers to pay you more money than what the car was listed for by check or money order, this is a big red flag that the transaction is fraudulent. In this circumstance, we suggest you stop communication with that person and move on to another prospective buyer. Once you have a legitimate buyer in the picture, you'll likely need to meet up with them in person to check out the car. Arrange to meet the buyer in the daylight hours in a well-populated area, preferably with security cameras in view of the place you will be meeting. Popular options for preferred meeting spots are in the mall, police department, and bank parking lots. If you and the buyer agree to the terms and decide to finish the transaction, the next step is to make sure the money they've given you isn't fraudulent. The simplest way to do this is to request a cash transaction for the vehicle. Then, to confirm the bills aren't fake, you can arrange with the buyer that you will give them the title to the vehicle once the bank confirms no fake bills are present. If they refuse to go to a bank with you, it may be a sign that the money the person is trying to give you is fake. In that case, you might want to reconsider whether you want to sell to that buyer. If you decide to accept a check or money order for payment, you can ask the person to see their ID to obtain their license number and full name. You will want to write these down along with their phone number in the event the check or money order doesn't go through. Here's a side note. As a buyer, we caution against allowing a seller to take a photo of your ID at this step. It's not necessary for them to have all the information on your ID, such as your date of birth and other identifying information. Only the driver's license number and your name are relevant at this point. As the seller, having the information for the buyer will be helpful in the event you need to contact them again and/or file a report regarding the fraudulent transaction. Once you've completed selling the vehicle by exchanging the money and signed title, make sure to complete a bill of sale, which you can find on the Oregon DMV website or at many banks. To be cautious, it's encouraged to keep a copy for yourself as well as providing one for the buyer. And finally, step 7 is where you need to contact the DMV and let them know of the sale within 10 days of when it's sold. This is not only legally required of you, but it is also a way to protect yourself in the event the buyer gets into some sort of trouble with the vehicle and had not notified the DMV of the transfer themselves. We oftentimes see people who are listed as registered owners on impounded vehicles and are then responsible to sort out the situation with the tow yard, even if they had sold the vehicle years ago. And that's it for our episode over what to do when selling a car. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back next month for another episode of Traffic Safety First.